Ladies and gentlemen, life will test you. It will push you to your limits. It will challenge everything you think you know about yourself. You will face storms, setbacks, and situations that shake you to your core. But in those moments, one thing will determine your outcome: your ability to stay calm. Because a calm mind is a powerful mind. A calm mind sees possibilities where others see chaos. A calm mind turns obstacles into stepping stones. A calm mind is what separates those who crumble from those who rise. Today, let's talk about what it means to train your mind to be calm in every situation. You've got to understand something deep, something essential. The power of your mind. Your mind is your greatest weapon. It's the tool that shapes your entire life. But far too many people never realize its power. Too many let their emotions take the wheel. Life happens, things don't go as planned. And before we know it, we're caught in the storm of frustration, panic, and doubt. When you react from that emotional place, you lose clarity, you lose focus, and you make decisions that hurt you, and sometimes even hurt the people around you. You miss opportunities that could have changed everything because you let emotion drive instead of discipline. Now, I know it's easy to get caught up in your feelings. We're human, right? We care deeply, we feel deeply, and sometimes those emotions are so strong. They cloud our judgment, they pull us away from logic and into chaos. But here's the truth. If you want peace, if you want strength, if you want control, you've got to learn to master your reactions. You have to stop letting your emotions hijack your mind and start leading with clarity and purpose. It's not easy, but it's possible. And it starts with awareness. It starts with understanding what happens to you when pressure hits. See, science tells us something powerful when you panic, when fear takes over your brain, shuts down the part that helps you think clearly. It triggers an ancient response. It throws you into survival mode. And in that state, you don't think, you react, and that's dangerous. Because when you react, you're not in control. You've handed your power over to emotion. But what if you could change that? What if you could train yourself to stay calm, even when everything around you is falling apart? What if you could slow things down, breathe, and regain control over your thoughts, your actions, your direction? That's where real power begins. Not in controlling the world, but in controlling yourself. Look at the greats, the ones who shaped history, the leaders, the performers, the athletes, the innovators. What sets them apart? It's not just talent or intelligence, it's composure under pressure. It's the ability to stay calm when everyone else is losing their mind. They don't allow emotion to dictate their choices. They master the storm inside of them, even when the world outside is spiraling out of control. Think about someone like Michael Jordan. We all know the stories. He's on the court, the clock winding down, the championship on the line, the weight of a city on his shoulders. One shot decides it all. Did he panic? Did he freeze? No, he took a breath, he locked in, he stayed calm, and he did what needed to be done. He executed flawlessly. That's composure under pressure. That's mastery of mind. Now you might say, yeah, but that's Michael Jordan. He's built different. No, he's not. He's human, just like you, just like me. The difference isn't in what he felt, it's in what he chose to do with those feelings. He didn't let fear take over. He didn't let the moment overwhelm him. He controlled his mind, and that control made him legendary. But you don't need to be an athlete to understand that kind of power. You face your own moments of pressure every single day. Maybe it's at work, maybe it's at home, maybe it's within yourself. And in those moments, you have the same choice: panic or pause, fear or focus, chaos or control, because life is always going to test you, but the calm mind always wins. When you think about pressure, you often think about chaos, about things spinning out of control, about moments where your heart starts racing and your breath gets shallow. But what most people never realize is that pressure itself isn't the enemy. It's your relationship with it. Pressure reveals who you really are. It exposes what you've trained for, what you've built within yourself, and what you truly believe about your own strength. When life tightens its grip, when things don't go according to plan, that's when your habits, your mindset, and your discipline rise to the surface. That's when all the noise fades and your truth is revealed. Most people crumble under pressure, not because they're weak, but because they've never learned how to slow down in the moment. They let the rush of fear take over. They try to control everything around them instead of mastering what's inside of them. They want the world to calm down before they do, but the world doesn't work that way. Peace isn't found in perfect circumstances. Peace is built inside you. It's the ability to remain still when the world shakes. It's the ability to breathe when every instinct tells you to panic. That's the skill that separates those who survive from those who grow stronger. There's a power in stillness. Most people don't understand it because they've never practiced it. We live in a world obsessed with reaction, always rushing to fix, to post, to prove, to respond. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pause, not because you're frozen, but because you're calculating, because you're choosing to move with intention instead of emotion. A calm mind doesn't rush. It observes, it listens, it waits for the right move. It doesn't get lost in noise because it understands that clarity always comes to those who are patient. You've got to start noticing your triggers, the moments when your emotions rise, when your pulse quickens, when you can feel anger or fear knocking at the door. Those moments are invitations to grow. They are opportunities to build the muscle of control. It's not about suppressing your feelings. It's about giving yourself enough space to decide what to do with them, because emotions are not your enemies. They are information. They tell you something is happening inside of you, something that needs your attention. But if you let emotion run wild without direction, it becomes destruction. So the next time you feel pressure, instead of reacting, immediately ask yourself, what's really happening? What's the story I'm telling myself right now? Am I reacting to reality or to fear? Because most of the time, it's not the situation that overwhelms us. It's the story we attach to it. We start imagining what could go wrong. We start creating disasters in our mind. And before anything bad even happens, we've already lost control. The calm mind doesn't fall for that trap. It stays grounded in truth. It looks at the facts, not the fears. Think about those moments when everything seemed to go wrong, when the weight felt unbearable. Yet somehow you made it through. You've already proven to yourself that you're stronger than chaos, but you forget because you don't slow down long enough to acknowledge it. That's why calm is so important. It's not a luxury. It's survival. It's how you navigate through the storms without losing yourself. Control doesn't come from pretending everything's fine. It comes from awareness, from knowing that panic won't solve it, that emotion won't fix it. It comes from learning to trust that your calm mind will always find a way through. It's the quiet power of composure that turns obstacles into strategy, that turns setbacks into lessons. You don't need to fight every storm. Sometimes you just need to stand still, let the noise pass and wait for clarity, because clarity always follows calm. The truth is, you can't stop the storms from coming, but you can prepare your mind for them. You can build a foundation so solid that even when life shakes you, you don't collapse. And that starts with awareness. It starts with discipline. It starts with deciding that you will not be ruled by emotion, but guided by intention. When the pressure comes, you won't panic, you'll pause. And in that pause, you'll find your strength, your focus, and your power. Because calm isn't the absence of chaos, it's your mastery over it. There's a moment in every storm when silence becomes your greatest weapon. Not the silence of fear or surrender, but the silence of focus, the kind that pulls you away from the noise and draws you into yourself. The calm before the decision, the breath before the action. That's where real strength lives. Not in shouting louder than your problems, not in trying to outrun what scares you, but in standing still long enough to see things clearly. Most people don't realize that control isn't about domination. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending you don't feel pain. It's about awareness. It's about knowing exactly what's happening inside you while the world outside spins out of control. Think about it. Your mind is like water. When it's turbulent, you can't see your reflection. You can't see the truth. But when it's calm, everything becomes clear. That's what we're trying to build, a mind steady enough to face anything without losing itself. When you panic, your brain betrays you. It rushes into survival mode. Your focus narrows, your vision collapses, and all you see is threat. You can't think, you can't create, you can't lead. That's why staying calm is not some spiritual luxury. It's a tactical advantage. It's what allows you to see the whole field when everyone else sees only chaos. It's the reason the greats perform at their best when the pressure is highest, because they've trained their minds to breathe in the moment, not to drown in it. You've probably felt it before, that rush of adrenaline, when something goes wrong, when the email arrives, when the argument starts, when the unexpected hits. And in that second, you feel your pulse rising, your breath shortening your body, tightening everything inside of you, preparing for a fight. But that's exactly the moment when you need to stop. That's the gap where your power lives, between the impulse and the reaction. There's a choice. The calm mind finds that space. The reactive mind misses it entirely. So how do you train yourself to find it? How do you stay calm when every instinct tells you to run it? Starts with breath. Your breath is the bridge between your body and your mind. It's the most ancient form of control that exists. When you slow your breathing, you slow your thoughts when you breathe deeply, you tell your nervous system you are safe. And when your body believes it, your mind follows, the chaos begins to fade. Clarity begins to rise. That's why elite soldiers, athletes, and leaders all train their breath. They understand it's not about being fearless. It's about functioning inside the fear. When your breath is steady, you can think. When your breath is wild, your thoughts scatter the next time you feel the pressure closing in. Stop, breathe slowly, deliberately. Count each inhale and each exhale like you're reclaiming every piece of yourself with every breath you take. There's something profoundly powerful in that simplicity, because control is not built in grand gestures. It's built in small choices, in quiet discipline. It's built in the moment. You decide not to react, not to lash out, not to panic, and instead choose to think before you move. Those tiny decisions repeated day after day become who you are. They forge a person who can stand in chaos and still lead. You see, composure is not about what happens to you. It's about who you become because of what happens. It's about realizing that calm is not passive. It's strategic. It's strength in motion. When you're calm, you can listen better. You can see the angles others miss. You can decide with precision instead of fear. And that's the kind of control that changes everything. It's what makes you unshakable. There will always be noise, always be storms. But the difference between those who rise and those who fall isn't the storm, it's the state of mind within it. So let the world move how it moves, let the chaos do what it does. Your power isn't in controlling the weather, it's in mastering your own calm, because once you own that, nothing and no one can take your peace again. There's something almost sacred about the moment you decide to stop fighting against everything and start mastering yourself. It's the shift between living in reaction and living in control. Most people never reach that point because they're too busy trying to control the uncontrollable. They spend their lives chasing stability in a world that was never meant to be stable. And in doing so, they exhaust themselves, they burn out, they lose sight of what really matters. But the ones who learn to control their inner world, to master their emotions, and direct their thoughts with intention, they're the ones who find peace in the middle of chaos. Control begins with awareness. Awareness of what triggers you, what shakes you, what pulls you away from your center. You can't change what you don't recognize, and yet most people live their entire lives on autopilot, reacting to life without ever questioning why they feel what they feel. Every emotion, every burst of anger, every moment of fear is a message. It's your body telling you something is out of alignment. Maybe it's a boundary being crossed. Maybe it's an old wound being reopened. Maybe it's your ego trying to protect you. But until you stop and listen, you'll keep repeating the same emotional cycles over and over again. When you start observing your emotions instead of drowning in them, something incredible happens. You realize they don't define you, they just pass through you. Anger, fear, disappointment. They are visitors, not permanent residents. But if you don't manage them, they'll take over your home. They'll rearrange the furniture in your mind until you can't recognize yourself anymore. That's why awareness is everything. It's the first step toward freedom. And once you're aware, the next step is acceptance. You can't calm a storm by pretending it isn't there. You calm it by acknowledging it, by facing it without judgment. This is where most people get stuck. They confuse calm with suppression. They think being calm means bottling up emotions, forcing themselves not to feel. But suppression isn't control, it's denial. And what you deny will always find a way to resurface. Real calm doesn't mean you don't feel anger or fear. It means you feel it fully, but you choose not to be ruled by it. You choose to let it move through you instead of control you. Every great performer, every visionary, every leader who has made an impact understands this. They've learned to turn emotion into focus. They've learned to take that same energy that once caused chaos and redirect it into purpose. They know that composure isn't about avoiding pressure. It's about thriving under it. They've trained their minds to stay present no matter what's happening around them. And that's why they rise while others fall. The truth is, composure is a decision. It's not something that appears magically when you need it. It's something you cultivate through repetition, through discipline, through moments of conscious choice. It's in the second you decide not to raise your voice when you could. It's in the instant you take a breath instead of reacting. It's in the way you choose to walk away rather than engage in something that steals your peace. That's how control is built, quietly, consistently over time. It's also how self-respect grows, because when you can stay calm under pressure, you're telling yourself that your peace matters, that your focus matters, that your future matters more than temporary emotions. And once you understand that, you start making different decisions. You stop chasing validation. You stop trying to win arguments. You stop needing to prove your worth. You begin to operate from power, not from fear. There's beauty in that kind of strength. It's not loud. It doesn't need attention. It moves with quiet confidence, and quiet confidence is something the world can feel even if it can't explain it. That's the energy of a person who has done the work, who has faced their storms and built stillness from the inside out. So when life tests you, when people push you, when everything seems to go wrong, remember this. Your calm isn't a weakness. It's your edge, it's your shield, it's your weapon. And when you protect it, you protect everything that matters: your clarity, your purpose, and your peace. There's a truth few people want to accept. Calm isn't something you reach once and keep forever. It's something you have to fight for every single day. It's not a gift, it's a practice, because the world will keep testing you, sometimes in small ways, sometimes with a force that feels unbearable. And every time it does, you'll have to decide again and again whether you'll let it shake you or whether you'll hold your ground. The difference between people who break and people who rise isn't luck, it's discipline. Calm is built in the unseen moments, in the hours when no one's watching, when you're sitting in silence with your thoughts and your impulses, learning to understand them instead of running from them. You can't expect to stay calm in chaos if you never practiced calm in peace. You can't expect your mind to hold its shape under pressure if you've never trained it to. Think about a soldier before battle, an athlete before the game, an artist before the performance. Their strength isn't born in the spotlight. It's forged in repetition, in the quiet grind, in the discipline of showing up when they don't feel like it. Your mind works the same way. You can't wait until you're drowning to learn how to swim. You train beforehand. You build the reflexes that will save you when the storm comes. Every day gives you an opportunity to strengthen your calm. It's in the traffic jam that tests your patience. It's in the coworker who gets under your skin. It's in the unexpected delay, the bad news, the small inconveniences that try to pull you into frustration. These moments are your training ground. Every time you choose patience over panic, composure over chaos, you're sharpening your control. The more you practice it, the less power life's storms have over you. But don't mistake calm for passivity. Calm isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing the right thing at the right time with a clear mind. It's precision. It's clarity. It's choosing your response instead of being dragged by reaction. When you're calm, you see options that panic hides. You see patterns others miss. You find solutions while others are still shouting about the problem. That's what makes calm so powerful. It gives you back your ability to think, to decide, to lead. And leadership doesn't always mean guiding others. Sometimes it just means guiding yourself through the chaos of your own thoughts. It means standing tall inside your own uncertainty, reminding yourself that you've been through worse and made it out stronger. Calm teaches you to trust that voice, the one that whispers through the noise. Slow down, you're in control. There will be days when calm feels impossible, days when your patience runs thin and your emotions take over. Don't punish yourself for those moments. They're part of the process. What matters is that you come back, that you reset, that you breathe. The goal isn't to never lose your calm, it's to never lose your way back to it. Remember this, storms are temporary, but your mind is permanent. If you invest in it, if you train it, if you learn to anchor it, nothing can move you for long. Calm isn't about what happens around you, it's about what happens within you. And when you master that space, when you can walk through chaos and remain composed, you don't just survive life, you lead it. There comes a moment in life when you realize that control isn't about holding everything together, it's about knowing when to let go. Most people believe that calm is found in mastery over every detail, that if they could just predict the future, prepare for every outcome, they'd finally have peace. But that's not how life works. No matter how much you plan, no matter how disciplined or focused you are, life will still find ways to surprise you. It will test you with uncertainty, with the unexpected, with loss. And in those moments, your peace will depend not on how much you control, but on how much you trust yourself to handle what comes next. That's the paradox of calm. The tighter you cling to control, the faster it slips through your fingers. The more you try to dominate every situation, the more resistance you create. True composure isn't rigidity, it's flexibility. It's the ability to bend without breaking, to adapt without losing your core. Imagine a tree in the middle of a storm. The ones that stand stiff and unyielding, snap under the wind. But the ones that move with it, that sway, that trust their roots, they survive. That's how calm works. It's rooted strength, not forced stillness. So much of our stress comes from trying to control what we can't. We replay conversations in our heads, we obsess over what might happen, we cling to outcomes as if our happiness depends on them, but peace doesn't live in the future, it lives in the present moment, in your response to what is happening right now. You can't control other people, you can't control time, you can't control fate. What you can control is the space between what happens and what you choose to do next. That's where your freedom lives. Think about it. Most of the pain we carry isn't from what actually happened, but from how we interpreted it. A delay becomes a disaster in our minds. A rejection becomes proof that we're not enough. A challenge becomes a curse instead of a test. But what if every difficult moment was just an invitation to trust yourself more deeply? What if calm wasn't the absence of struggle, but the presence of faith? Faith that you can handle what life gives you. Faith that even when you fall, you'll rise again. It's in that quiet faith that strength is born. The calm person isn't someone untouched by chaos. They've just learned to listen for the signal in the noise. They've learned that reacting isn't the same as responding, that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is pause, because in the pause, clarity returns. In the pause, emotion settles. In the pause, you remember who you are. And that's the real lesson. Calm isn't about fixing everything. It's about remembering that you already have everything you need to face it. It's about trusting your preparation, your growth, your resilience. When you've trained your mind, when you've faced your own storms and survived, you start to understand that you don't need every answer to be at peace. You just need to know that you'll figure it out when the time comes. The irony is that letting go gives you more control than holding on ever could. Because when you stop trying to force life into your plan, you start flowing with it. You stop wasting energy on resistance and start focusing on movement. Calm people aren't lucky, they're aligned. They've stopped fighting what they can't change and started mastering how they respond to what's in front of them. So the next time life tests you, when things fall apart and you feel that familiar rush of panic, remind yourself this is not the end. It's another chance to practice trust. Breathe deeply, loosen your grip. You don't need to control the storm, you just need to control your sail. Because calm isn't about stopping the wind, it's about knowing how to move with it. And once you learn that, nothing can truly throw you off course. There's a moment somewhere between chaos and clarity, where everything inside you goes quiet. It's not the absence of sound, it's the absence of resistance. It's the moment when you stop fighting the storm and start moving through it with purpose. That's the heart of true calm, not the illusion of control, but the decision to stay grounded no matter what tries to shake you. You see, the mind is a battlefield, and most people lose the war long before life ever hits them. They lose it in their thoughts, in the stories they tell themselves, in the way they let fear whisper louder than truth. Every doubt, every worry, every what if becomes a storm within. And yet, the greatest victory doesn't come from defeating the storm. It comes from realizing you were never trapped in it. The calm mind doesn't avoid the noise. It learns to listen differently. It filters through the fear and finds direction in the chaos, because calm isn't passive, it's precision. It's knowing where to place your energy, where to step, where not to. It's strategy in motion. When you learn to stay calm, you start seeing patterns where others see panic. You begin to recognize that life is less about what happens and more about how you move through it. Most people live their lives reacting. They jump from one emotion to another, one crisis to the next, like waves being pulled by a tide they don't understand. And in doing so, they hand over their power without even realizing it. Every time you let anger dictate your words, fear dictate your choices, or frustration dictate your attitude, you're giving away a piece of yourself. That's what calm protects. It's the gatekeeper of your power. But calm doesn't come from isolation or pretending nothing affects you. It comes from understanding yourself so deeply that nothing outside of you can control what happens within. That kind of awareness doesn't arrive overnight. It's built through reflection, through failure, through discomfort. It's forged in the moments when you want to explode, but instead you pause. It's built in the seconds between reaction and restraint, in the silence where you remind yourself, this moment doesn't define me, my response does. There's strength in that pause, more than most people realize. The pause is where clarity lives, where logic has time to breathe, where emotion cools enough for wisdom to rise. And the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. Soon, what once triggered you barely moves you. What once drained you no longer has access to your energy. That's growth, not because the world changed, but because you did. You start to understand that peace isn't given, it's earned. It's earned every time you choose to walk away from unnecessary battles. It's earned every time you decide that protecting your energy is more important than proving a point. Peace is earned in the moments when you refuse to match someone's chaos with your own. Because calm doesn't mean weakness, it means mastery. It means you no longer need to win every argument to know your worth. This kind of composure becomes your quiet armor. It doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention, but people feel it. It changes the energy in every room you walk into. Calm, people don't just influence situations, they command them not through force, but through presence. There's a gravity to someone who cannot be shaken. They make others feel steadier simply by being steady themselves. And that's the thing, when you stay calm, you're not only protecting yourself, you're anchoring the people around you. Your peace becomes contagious. Your focus gives direction. Your patience becomes the tone that others begin to mirror. True calm doesn't just serve you, it serves everyone who crosses your path. So the next time you feel that pull, the rush of anger, the sting of fear, the temptation to react, remember what's really at stake. Not your pride, not your image, but your peace. Because every time you choose calm over chaos, you're choosing progress over pain. You're choosing leadership over reaction. And little by little, you're becoming the kind of person who doesn't just face storms, you define how others face theirs. There's a quiet kind of strength that comes from knowing you can endure. Not because life has been easy on you, but because you've been through the fire and refused to let it burn away your spirit. That's what true calm is built on: endurance. It's not some distant ideal reserved for monks and philosophers. It's something you earn through experience, through failure, through the moments that nearly broke you but didn't. Endurance doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you've learned how to carry it without letting it define you. It's the realization that discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the invitation. The invitation to grow, to adapt, to expand beyond what you thought you were capable of. Every challenge, every setback, every heartbreak, it's all shaping you, refining you. And if you can stay calm in that refining fire, you become something unshakable. The calm mind understands that chaos is part of the process. There's no growth without friction, no clarity without confusion, no victory without struggle. The difference is calm doesn't see these things as punishment. It sees them as preparation. Life doesn't test you to destroy you. It tests you to strengthen you, to show you who you really are when everything comfortable is stripped away. Most people fear those moments. They think the storm means they're failing. They think the pressure means they're not ready. But pressure is proof that something is being built inside. It's the weight that forges your foundation. You can't rise without resistance. The world around you may tell you to avoid pain, to run from difficulty, to stay comfortable. But comfort never made anyone grow. Calm isn't found in comfort. It's found in how you carry yourself when comfort disappears. Think about the people you admire, the ones who walk through life with quiet confidence. They're not calm because life spared them. They're calm because life didn't. They've seen what it's like to be on the edge, to lose, to doubt, to question everything, and still they move forward. They've learned that panic never solves anything, that fear only wastes energy, and that composure turns chaos into clarity. That's what makes them powerful. Not luck, not circumstance, but mindset. The truth is, calm grows in the dark, in the lonely moments when no one's watching, when you have to rebuild yourself piece by piece. It grows in patience, in trusting that the work you're doing now will pay off later. It grows in acceptance, in realizing that life doesn't owe you ease, it owes you opportunity. And every obstacle is exactly that, an opportunity to practice what you say you believe in. When you start seeing life that way, everything changes. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? You stop reacting to the surface and start understanding the lesson underneath it. Calm isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about knowing that even when it's not, you will be. And that understanding builds an inner strength that no one can take from you. Because once you've faced the storm and seen that you can survive it, fear loses its grip. You no longer panic at uncertainty. You no longer need control over everything to feel safe. You've built safety inside yourself, in the way you think, in the way you breathe, in the way you trust your ability to adapt. That's what true calm really is: self-trust, the quiet confidence that no matter what happens, you'll find a way. Because you always have, because you always will. And once you realize that, the storms stop feeling like threats. They start feeling like reminders. Reminders of the strength you've already proven and the power you still hold within.